welcome to our first bonus episode of Arc 3.
Woo, woo, woo!
Here we'll be reading the comments, so we'll be honoring our Alliance of the Stars, and we're also going to be discussing our New York trip.
New York!
So we're going to take it chapter by chapter, but before we get to those chapters of Arc 3, Melanie has some comments to read about the Micelle special.
All right, so this was Diana's comment that she left on our Micelle special, and it was about 2 months ago, but Diana said, "Yay, another episode. It took me a while to comment, but I remember being so surprised when this episode came out. I was bored during my lunch at work and decided to try a random answer generator on my phone. I asked if we could get an NT surprise that day, and boom!" I love that.
That's great. That's great. All roads lead to new trials.
And then she said, "Laughed my ass off at the knife question. I honestly don't remember who activated the knife. Now I have to look for it. However, to answer whether the Dark Ones have Eastern or Western magic, like Preya pointed out, the twins have traveled all over the world. We're also told by Mayura in KMO that Ryuichi started with the most fluid of powers because the twins' background and how well-traveled they were. I would think that since the OG Dark One #1, Ryuichi himself, canonically explored magic that others didn't, it would not be out of the realm of possibilities for him to have passed down the dark or forbidden Eastern and Western magic to his descendants. Heck, I would even argue that he was the OG Clow Reed, since it is hinted multiple times that Clow based some of his magic or magical ideas from Ryuichi. Interesting. I love when she spirals into like the original 5 and all that. Like, I cannot wait to have you on, Diana, for when we get to like the nitty gritty of the Great 5.
It's gonna be a must. No one knows the Great 5 like Diana.
I cannot wait. That's gonna be such a fun episode. The true key also went over my head. Good catch, Micelle. I also never noticed the whole Leon's disappearance versus Ryurin's murder. Wow, good catch. To ease Melanie's confusion, Ryota did murder Ryurin. He's also the one who sends Ryurin's journal back to the Lee clan per his deal with Sakura. However, there is some confusion because either Wish-chan retconned Ryurin's funeral, or the Lee clan made a clone to save face from their enemies, since Ryurin's body never makes it out of the Dragon Isles. His body turns into icicles/snow once he passes away. In Arc 4, we learn that powerful magicians are supposed to not leave their bodies behind once they pass away because it could be dangerous. So Sakura wouldn't have a body tree turn to the Lee clan even if she wanted to. And to answer how Sakura manages to go back to the Dragon Isles, while she's crying and walking away, Hayashi's wolf shows up and helps her. Whether Hayashi sent the wolf or whether the wolf just know, we don't know.
I just love how she's a treasure trove of knowledge.
I know.
I forgot all of this. Like, it's starting to come back bits and pieces, but the way she expresses it so eloquently, and she connects the dots and she makes the connections. I'm so glad one of us in the fandom is on top of their game.
Yeah, our unofficial third host. We're glad you're the responsible, organized one. Wish-chan better not kill Aaron or Erika. Like, I know we'll be getting an epic tragedy, but if either one dies, I think it would just continue the Dark One's cycle. It would prove the Dark One's point. Kind of. Also, Micelle and I were once discussing what kind of parents the twins would be. And you know for a fact that if Aaron had a daughter, she would be so spoiled as daddy's little girl. Erika would be a boy mom, and she would be losing her mind running after the kid. Laugh my ass off.
Oh my gosh. Oh, how the tables have turned. If she thinks she's a bougie kid, wait till she sees what she breeds.
Can you imagine, though? Because I ship Erika with Jinyu, and just like a small little ball of energy that has Erika's personality and Jinyu into one little boy. Oh my god.
Watch out, world.
I am always thankful every day that I am a girl mom. Preya, you just wait.
Hey, my kid's walking at 10 months. I signed up for trouble.
I had never considered Kara being unable to part with the Amiya necklace. I always took Kai's accusation at face value. In chapter 71, he says that he connected the dots. Why she left, why Leon died, why Leon came back from the dead, and how Sakura found the necklace. He did some digging and learned Kara had sold it for quite cheap. Ouch. However, it could be possible if the necklace has a mind of its own and just shows up whenever it finds it convenient. Maybe it sensed Leon's bad mojo and left Kara. LOL.
Yeah, I can totally 100% that, because I think we talked about that too. The necklace is so elusive, and then all of a sudden Sakura just happens to see it in a jewelry store. That necklace wanted to be found by her.
Yeah, I think I'm already making a Harry Potter reference again, but I think I said it was like akin to the Sword of Gryffindor, where it like just decides to show up when it wants to.
Yeah, that sounds like something you'd say for sure.
And then last but not least, she said, Preya, Melanie, and Marcel, thank you for sharing this episode. Have a wonderful day.
Yay.
Just reading these comments just make me so happy. My little love language heart is just beside myself in joy. Alrighty, shall we move on to chapter 37?
Yes.
Okay, so I'm going to start with the audiobook comments, and then we're going to go on to the podcast comment from Diana, and then we're going to end with Michelle's comment.
Yes.
Okay, so spoiler, we got 2 comments for Diana for chapter 37. I'm already so excited. So Diana said, "You're back! The audiobook is back. It's 2 hours and 15 minutes. Better get started." Guys, I don't even want to tell you how long Winter's Conundrum is. You guys are gonna die. Anyway, lol at Maylin, still ranting about the best couple contest. Also, I was pleasantly surprised on your use of the telephone ring. Laugh my ass off at the line got disconnected. I think I remember doing something like that back in the day. That was when Sakura took like the wrapper on the thing.
Yes.
I laughed at Sakura reading Fushigi Yugi. I found the complete series at the library, but could barely read past the first volume, Diana.
Uh-oh.
Girl, okay, hold on, pause everything. Girl, you have to fix this. If you can't find the manga, then you at least have to watch the anime. That is your 2025/2026 homework from Miss Melanie. Thank you. All right, on to the next. Is it just me, or is this the only Sakura called Wolfie-chan Xiao-chan? And I think we mentioned that in the podcast. Erika making it her mission to wake Aaron up for theater practice reminded me of her doing the same with Jinyu in Arc 4. Aw. Also, I don't know why, but I completely forgot Aaron's room is so plain. I thought it would be extra fancy. But then again, it did remind me of a comment Kai made about people's misconceptions about him as Kaito magician. Maybe the same is true for Aaron. Well, I think in Arc 4, we kind of find out he's really meticulous,
yes.
He's really organized, like type A, so I could see him not wanting like a lot of clutter in his room and being very minimalist. Now that I know him a little bit better since reading Arc 4, but knowing him in arc 3 as we knew him, I kind of also see him having a really opulent Earl/Clow Reed room.
Yeah. And you know what? We know that he's like really into his hair products and all, so he probably has like a ensuite bathroom, and that's where he like hoards his stash.
His potions, remember?
Yes.
His chemistry potions.
Yes, to make his hair look meticulous as always.
Whereas you walk into my house and you know you're in Melanie's house because you're just like hit by like Disney, Harry Potter, Studio Ghibli.
Yes. I can assure you guys, I've witnessed all of that. I've had the pleasure of going to Melanie's, and yes, all of this is true.
And then, did Wish-chan just drop some foreshadow here and we missed it the first time around? Ever since that incident at the beachside when his power backfired on him, he had been considerably weaker and unmotivated. The wave had broken free of him and he couldn't locate it for the moment. Which I think we...
Yes, we talked about, yeah.
Okay. And then also, laughed my ass off at Aaron, reflecting back to the dozens of wine glasses he had broken in the past. And so it begins, Aaron's reputation for drinking wine and destroying glasses. The boy needs a better outlet for his emotions.
I agree, Diana, I agree.
Another foreshadow, y'all. Tomeo explained quickly, coming to Sakura's rescue. Sakura shot her an appreciative look. Who could ask for a better friend? Which I think we sort of talked about how that was the last time we thought that was the real Tomeo.
Exactly.
Well, you know what I mean. Mm-hmm. Not me laughing at Sharon trying to convince everyone that Eagle was completely different from Wolfie-chan. Also, not me being sad when Aaron and Miho are like, don't you hate dog/Wolfie-chan? You guys couldn't be further from the truth.
You know it.
Ha 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 at, don't they seem like a married couple? Miho commented. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And then, they do, don't they? Tomeo said she alone knew the secret and was enjoying the comedy immensely. Any excuse I have to do a Tomeo voice, I'm going to take.
Yes.
Kudos to your reporter voice. Thank you. And then Kai is back. Yay!
We're very excited.
I'm so glad he's like a regular character now. What do they say in TV? He's a season regular.
Yes.
Now. Not me rolling my eyes and grinning at his whole I wanted Kai Majiki, but admin heard Mizuki. Boy, you know why. And then Diana said, boy, you know why you went with Mizuki. Also, I don't know if this is addressed in the podcast, but that's actually the name he chose in Kaido Magician Origins once he began living with Leon. So even in the underworld, that's the name they know him for. Interesting. We brought up the whole Majiki conversation,
yes.
but we definitely didn't talk about that.
KMO, no, not at all.
And then the rock music of Melanie, you outdid yourself. You're welcome. If only Sharon knew at the parent If only Sharon knew at the parrot makes the puppy look like a noble beast in comparison. Oh, I get it, because it's actually a sacred beast. That's so funny. We definitely missed that.
Yes, for sure.
All right, and then part 2 for 37 from Diana is not Wish-chan calling me out at most girls, even the quietest, shyest ones found Kai fascinating. And Kai struck conversations easily, but most of them still felt a little off for Kai, especially the younger students. So funny. And then foreshadow, ? At she could identify the difference between friends who fight a lot and cool hostility and distance. I don't remember if we brought that up or not.
I don't think so.
I wonder what the story is behind the Daredevil silver fane earrings and the small hoops, since we know the periwinkle stud was a gift from Kara.
Oh, that's true. I think Wish Chen was just painting him out to be a bad boy.
Yeah, I have a headcanon that, like, when he finally decides to, like, shed his McKay image, he's like, what's bad boy? What says bad boy? I know, a Daredevil silver fane earring. And then, I feel bad for Timeo. Girl has so much on her plate all the time. I also noticed this line. Maybe it's a clue to what will happen later on in this chapter. Often these days, Sakura found that it was hard to spend time with Timeo since they were both so busy, especially with the musical coming up and Timeo having to look after Miho.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know how Timeo handles having that much stuff going all at once.
She
I barely
must have
handle
minions.
I can barely handle like one thing at a time.
I'm sure Tomoyo has like enlisted people to do the smaller jobs for her, and
I would hope,
because there's just not enough hours in the day.
I would hope. And then Diana said, "Miho and Kai." And then laughed my ass off at Sakura just randomly asking Kai if he liked Meilin. Nice. First off, the ENT shipper in me saw this part and was like, but I also thought more subtle foreshadow at, despite the fact that Irol had been her enemy, she had been a good person after all. Maybe a little eccentric, but otherwise completely perfect. The only person who was so perfect was Timeo, though even she had her eccentric side. She wondered what the riddle meant by looking closely around her. Your fellow ENT shipper also is very excited. Sakura confronts Erika because she thought she was behind the rumors, and Erika tells her that it's weird that her BFF isn't there in her time of need. All I thought about was the OG Dark Ones. Yikes. I also thought of them when Phantom Timeo and Shoudon were talking about loyalty and friendship. Not me thinking of the drama occurring in the 19th century NT Japan.
Of course your mind is going to go there.
I know, I love it. I love it so much. Like, I don't condone any of the Dark One's actions, but they are one of my problematic faves. I couldn't help but wonder if the remaining four tried talking to Ruichi the same way Shoudon was talking to Timeo. I also couldn't help but make a small comparison between Timeo and Risa. That's interesting. Also, did we get foreshadow to S&S's telepathy and foreshadow to Shoudon leaving? I think we talked about that.
Yes.
Melanie, you've done an excellent job at Phantom Timeo. Thank you. The green umbrella scene. I've been waiting for so long for us to get to this point. I think we talked about that as well. And then last but not least, we have Irol is back. This is so good. Thank you for sharing. Until next time.
Yay. And Diana really is the third host.
I just love her to bits. Okay, and then last but not least, for chapter 37, we have Diana's podcast comments. And she said, "You're back! This is such a surprise. I remember seeing the update while at work and thinking, it's Christmas in January." Aw. I remember reading Arc 3 for the first time and thinking, this is the best arc so far. But then again, I feel like NT gets better with each chapter, arc/year. I'm so hyped. Let's get started. Once again, congratulations, Preya, on your baby and engagement.
Thank you. Thank you, Diana.
And congratulations, Melanie, on your new job. Gracias. And then I feel so bad for you two and your friendship breakups. Mine had been more of we slowly fade from each other's lives and never talk to each other again. Never really anything big, more like we grow up We grew up and grew apart, but never wish anyone harm. I did have one where I was part of a trio and we had some disagreement and we didn't talk for a while, only for them to stop being friends with each other and end up being friends with me again, although we would never hang out together again, nor mention the other in front of each other. Middle school, I tell you.
Wow, yes. Textbook middle school.
That's the worst, too, especially when you're caught in between two friends. That is the worst. And then as far as the veil, it attacks Miara, Sakura during the camping trip, and it attacked Risa because she stopped it from attacking Hayashi.
Aha.
That's right. That's right. Regarding Shout-on cooking the food, the whole scene was funny and maddening and surprising because Boy was able to do all that at such short notice.
That drove us insane. Absolutely insane.
I'm still mad at the group.
Me too.
For that. Every time I grocery shop now, that's all I can think of. You know, this is the first time I noticed that Kai becomes a new student after summer break, just like Mei Lin did in CCS.
Oh, that's true.
I love that parallel. So I don't remember where we get the info that Toya had a motorcycle, but I want to say that it wasn't in CCS Movie 2. It might have been in Clear Card. I know this is a fact, I just don't remember, but it is canon.
Well, I'm pretty sure that it's in the manga. If I'm pulling this from the top of my head, but I feel that, like, when Sakura, she disappeared, was it the mirror arc? I don't know. All I know is that Toya took his motorcycle to go looking for her because she was coming home late. And I think there's this really, really beautiful illustration of Toya and his motorcycle in one of the mangas. I don't know. I'll flip through my books. I'll see what I can find.
Yeah, that sounds... Gosh, it's been so long since I've read the manga, but yeah, that sounds familiar.
Yes, because, like, I do know that there's the fact that Toya doesn't take his motorcycle to school because Sakura would want to follow in a rollerblades, and that is dangerous. That I remember reading that somewhere. But I'm pretty sure that there is a beautiful illustration of Toya and his motorcycle, so that is, like, 100% canon.
Yeah, and I think it's also mentioned, like, that's why he was working all these jobs is to save up for the motorcycle, I think, as well. You know, when Preya said that Tomeo was pure, and how could this happen, I immediately thought of Leon's words in chapter 73. Pure, maybe, but definitely not innocent.
Wow.
I cannot wait till we get to Arc 4 and we can discuss that dynamic. I have a lot of thoughts. I completely agree with Melanie on the female gaze when Sharon combed Sakura's hair. Not me laughing at you giggling at Preya, saying she stopped counting the years since the update. We love you, Wish Jim. And then she ends with, thank you so much for sharing. Take care.
Well, you know, so I don't know if anybody is into Game of Thrones, but there's a dire wolf in the books, and now there's been, like, news articles about how they've resurrected the dire wolf out of extinction, and then the author of Game of Thrones, he had a hand in that, and now people are grumbling, saying, he's doing everything else but writing the books. And I know that it's, like, a long-running joke that he hasn't released his last, like, he hasn't, like, updated his story in a long time. So I Googled when was the last time he came out with a new book. 2011.
Yep. Yep. I know because I've heard my husband rant about this since probably 2011. This is an ongoing conversation that every time, what's his name, George R. Martin is mentioned in conversation, I have to hear a TED Talk about how long it's been since he's and how he's probably going to die before he finishes this series.
He probably is going to die. The amount of comics where you have the Grim Reaper knocking at his door, realizing who he is, and then forcing him to write.
Oh, man. Well, if I ever win the lottery, I'm just going to, like, pay for Wish-Chan to quit her job so that she can just write new trials and finish it, and then she can go back to work if she wants. Let's put that out in the universe. Let's manifest it, everybody. Priorities, guys.
Is that the end of the review?
Yes, for
okay.
chapter 37.
All right, now it's my turn to bounce over to Facebook, where Marcel, she writes a beautiful long review for us, and she says, "Yay for getting into Arc 3. It's funny that you mention an earthquake in Kansas, because I've experienced an earthquake when I was living in Omaha, lol. I don't know if it was the same one that you missed, was the one that happened in 2016-ish, but I just remembered waking up one morning to my bed shaking and the walls creaking. I thought I dreamt it all up until I went on social media and people were talking about it. Turns out it was from fracking in Oklahoma, since the Midwest is just flat land. The quake traveled really far. First and only time I've experienced one. Also, with Kai's name, he 100% was making wild stories up. He created Mizuki Kai persona when he was taken under Leon's wing. It's in the most recent chapter of Kaito Magician Origins. His parrot also didn't originally have a name, at least not while in parrot form, lol. Mei-Lin was the one who anointed him Pero-chan.
And that is the exact same earthquake, because it was 2016. So, yeah, same earthquake. And so funny, I had no idea you lived in Omaha. I have to drive up there all the time now for work. So, too funny. I wish you still lived there. We could hang out and get dinner or something.
Now it's time to move on to Chapter 38, Identity Crisis, YouTube comments.
All right, so we're going to start with the audiobook from Diana. We got, first off, I love your phantom voice. He sounds so menacing, but also a bit goofy. I don't know, like something I would have heard in a Pokemon dub. She said, I mean this in the best way possible. I know what you mean, though. I do know what you mean, and I appreciate it. That just made my whole day. Also, I laughed so hard because only Teneo would be so polite to a dark force. And lastly, when she was shot with the crystal arrow, I immediately thought about her dream in Arc 4. Do you know what she's talking about?
I'm trying to think about it, but nothing's really ringing a bell.
Yeah, I thought of... Oh, maybe during... No, that's... No. I have no idea.
We'll rediscover it.
How could I forget the conversation between Erron and Erika at the beginning of this chapter? This was so good, both as a written work and your performance. Thank you. We see the beginning of the twins' rocky relationship. Erron's growing interest in Sakura, Erika's admittance to avoiding emotions as a way to avoid getting hurt, and mentions of friendship betrayal. This is a gold mine. Mm-hmm. You know, for a second, I thought the 5-4 scroll was in Chinese. It's interesting to note that Sharon has a spell book with information on the Phantom. Either way, it would make sense for the information to be in Chinese, since Ryuichi was mixed and he and Shulin bonded over having Chinese backgrounds.
Yes.
Now, I wonder if Shulin wrote the information on the Phantom, or if this was one of those cases where the spell book was Ryuichi's, but it was kept elsewhere. Man, that's a good question. Who knows? Laughed my ass off at Sakura learning how to pick locks from Kai and shout on installing locks to keep Kai away. I love Kai.
Kai's the best.
Not me widening my eyes at this line from Wutai. As you know, the Lee clan is specialized in prophecy making. I could go on about how he mentioned this in relation to S&S, but my mind was screaming, Lian, he's talking about Lian. Also, not to doubt the Lee clan, but I'm sure they think they specialize in prophecy making, because when doesn't the Lee clan overestimate its abilities?
Very accurate.
I mean, canonically, Shu Lin was terrible at it. We know that Madoshi from CCS Movie 1 was from the Tane family. Clow Reed doesn't count, and Wu Tai might have sealed his fate by sending Lian off to the Dragon Isles. So, just saying. Besides, we know that Anya and Reeds are the ones with the good abilities to see the future. Also, me during that conversation, I'm getting chapter 52 and 53 flashbacks. Help!
Yes, like we're very quickly seeing that every single chapter in Arc 3, more or less, will make some kind of nod to those later chapters. Like,
yeah,
with Shen, she's really dropping those breadcrumbs.
Her writing impresses me so much, like just how organized it is, and how, like I said that before, like how she can write chapters out of order.
Yes,
I think is such a skill that I've never had. I've always been very linear in everything I do, and yeah, it's so interesting. But it is interesting to talk about the prophecy stuff too. Like, I think that was Wu Tai just blowing smoke because he just wanted Shaoran just to be like, oh, you don't belong with Sakura. I think that was a lie. And then she said, the music. Yes. Me losing it when Aaron tells Sakura about friendship, love, and the people's phantom side. Eardle is back and no one is surprised. Laughed my ass off. The whole exchange between Eardle and Shadow gave me life. So funny. And I died when Miho read Aki, Aaron, and Kai for the 5th. Laughed my ass off. As a teenager, Sakura's Kai-kun take her outside and tell the teacher that she doesn't need to call the fire department. Everything is under control. Seemed so cool and brave. As an adult, I'm like, why is this adult letting a teenager handle stuff? That's a lawsuit waiting to happen.
You know it.
we talked about that too.
Yes.
I'll probably go over this in the podcast, but when Phantom Tomeo was saying she's the real Tomeo, I thought about one of her conversations with Lian. It's been, I just read Arc 4 really, and now I just started it for the audiobook, and I feel like I don't remember anything about it. Also, Eardle wanting to save the stage so he could see the show is such a mood.
Yes.
Not Wish-chan dropping more hints that Kai is McKay. Also, not Wish-chan dropping hints on the Star Moon magic switcheroo. That's true. We did not talk about that. Am I the only one who thought about how this whole crystal scenario kind of repeats itself in Chapter 50 when Tomeo gets abducted by the Snow Queen?
I've never made that connection.
Yeah, because she does get encased in ice again.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. An eye for an eye, tooth for a tooth, arrow for an arrow. Oh my god, arrow for an arrow, Hammurabi's code. One of the few quotes I know by heart. LOL. Laugh my ass off. Only Tomeo would be distraught that Sakura sealed the Phantom without the new costumes. In all seriousness, I do enjoy the reunion between Sakura and Tomeo. I love their scenes in friendship so much. Just like I love the exchange between Eardle and Tomeo. More on that in the podcast.
Yeah.
And then she ends with, Thank you so much for sharing. This chapter was gold. Have a great week. Okay. And then we got her chapter 38 podcast questions. And Diana says, I'm so bad at sports, it's not even funny. Oh, another
yes.
sister.
You can join our team. Wink, wink.
Meaning we sit on the sidelines and just talk and have snacks.
Yes.
The only thing I was able to do right was a 3-point shot in basketball back in 9th grade. Long story short, I was in the middle of the court. I couldn't pass the ball, and we had like 3 seconds left. I shot the ball, and it went through, and we won.
Okay, that's a legendary move.
3-pointers are hard, too.
Yes.
Like, that's a long shot to make. No one was more surprised than me.
It was meant to be.
But besides that, I have been awful at sports. I mean, I trip walking on flat land, so... Me too, girl, me too. In the Dominican Republic, we have to take PE your entire school career and for the whole year. There's no way to opt out. But guess who was happy not to have to do gym class in the United States because she had way more credits than what she needed?
I love that. I love that.
Oh, that's so funny.
Yes, coast on that. That's perfect.
Yeah, we're like, oh, come to America, be as lazy as you want, but in the best way possible. Melanie and Preya, I agree. Arc 3 is when Sakura and Shaoran are the closest. Arc 3 is the S&S arc. Melanie, I didn't notice your pronunciation of Shaoran. Good, thank God. I pronounce Sakura's name wrong all the time because, for reasons unknown to me, the Latin American dub pronounced all the names correctly except Sakura's.
Oh no.
Interesting. I wonder if it's Sakura or what it sounded like. I'll have to listen to the Spanish dub. The music was so good. I can't believe I didn't catch the Easter egg. Melanie, that was so clever and good. Thank you. Also, good catch on how the Phantom was controlling everyone and making them into the biggest and meanest chismosos in the world. Chismosos is like gossipers.
Yes.
Chismosos. Although this is the first official chapter when Kai and Iril are together, we're told later on that Kai visited/robbed all the cities that Miho had gone to for vacation and or school. So we probably had more Kai and Iril scenes from a distance.
Yes.
Knowing Iril, he probably knew Kai was there watching over Miho and shooting daggers/an arrow at Iril. Melanie fangirling over ENT is so cute. Girl, I feel you. I've been there, still am, but I also agree with Soupy and Preya. And then she said, ooh, I noticed you didn't go over this, but the scene between Iril and Tomeo, where he says he saw through her lie, and she says the worst thing that can happen in a friendship is betrayal, has made Marcel and I making up theories. During one of my rereads, I thought he was referring to what happened with the Great Five, since we know that's how the Dark Ones see this ordeal, as a massive betrayal of the friends they once considered family. Meanwhile, the other 4 families see this as a betrayal of friendship gone terribly wrong. Well, Marcel pointed out that this could be referring to the implied friendship between Clow and Ryojiro, Ruichi's son. After all, we are told Ryojiro killed Mika while meaning to kill young Clow.
Yeah.
Can you imagine the betrayal Clow might have felt that one of his only friends wanted to kill him? Yikes. More on that in Arc 4. Wow.
It's like she reads New Trials on a different level than we do.
I I swear to God, like, you're so smart.
Yeah. You have the Diana and Micelle team up. Girls, you should like start your own side podcast.
Just call it Correction Corner and just correct everything Preya and I say.
Not even Correcting Corner. It's just New Trust and Beyond. It's like we're just, talking chapter by chapter, but they've got the lore on lock.
I love it. But, one of the things, like, I was sending Preya, like, a list of, like, episode ideas we could do in the future if for whatever reason, hopefully not, we ever caught up with Wish-chan. But one of them was doing, like, character deep dives, and I think it would be fascinating to have, like, Diana or Micelle come on and, like, really do a deep dive on, like, a specific character, like Ryujiro or Mika or whatever, the characters we don't really know that well. But anyways, very fascinating.
Moving on to Facebook, I'm going to read Michelle's review for the podcast, Chapter 38, Identity Crisis. Another fun episode. It was interesting hearing about the gym requirements in Montreal. Hee hee. Mine was almost the same as Melanie's, except in high school, we were only required to take one semester of freshman gym class and then another semester gym elective of your choosing. I ended up taking racket sports, tennis, badminton, ping pong, and the likes, and I chose to take the other semester of my freshman year, so I never had to do another gym class again. Big smiley face. I was a sporty kid, but there's something about being forced to be at the gym at school that's just unappealing. Lol.
I feel that.
Yeah. I don't think I ever picked up on how the Phantom was affecting the school as a whole. It makes so much sense considering how powerful it is. Nice catch, Melanie.
Yay! I have one up on them finally. I say with love.
Okay, now we move on to Chapter 39, Impulse.
So that's it for the Diana stuff on YouTube. So now it's all you, boo.
Okay, great. So Lauren Moreland, she commented on Chapter 39 and says, "This makes me want to reread the story from the beginning."
Or, you can listen to the audiobook all the way through.
Do
a little plug.
Chapter 40, Fate Determined by the Stars. Micelle writes, "How ironic that I listened to this podcast episode on Sakura's birthday when the chapter had been posted on her birthday as well. Thank you for the shout-outs. Hee hee, it's amazing how much inspiration you get from fangirling with a friend." I got a kick out of Preya's comment that theater people are next level. But you two are right. Cleaning up the auditorium after rehearsal is a stage crew job, not an actor's LMAO. I hardcore cringed at Melanie's story about the actor yelling "line" in the middle of the production. Dead emoji. As a former stage manager, I would have been livid, along with the director. I'm glad it worked out in the end, though. Lol. All the theater mishap stories made me think of my own. Like one musical I did in college. I was in charge of the curtain at the end of the acts, and for some reason, I kept confusing which side of the rope to pull on. Like 2 occasions, I pulled the wrong way and made the curtain go up instead of down at the epic final scene before intermission.
No. Oh, no.
I don't know how I didn't get my curtain rights taken away. Lol.
Curtain rights.
Moments when you definitely know everything is happening live. Lol. I think Preya's right. Sharon was just so in his role that he didn't fully register that he was holding the 5-4 sword. I laughed so hard at your fork story.
It still makes me laugh. Like every time I pick up a fork now in my kitchen drawer, I think of you and I just start laughing.
I love that. This is mine. It's not the Camille fork. It's mine.
It's mine. I'm like crying all over again. Oh.
I might have to defend Toya a little bit. If my sibling / close family member was starring in a big school production, I would have also been like, so where are my tickets? Ha ha ha. Probably not the day of, but was also overseas until then, so I'll give him some grace, lol lol. Speaking of which, I've always wondered why Starcross was only one night. Seriously.
Yes, and thank you so much for saying this, because I meant to say this during the episode and I completely forgot, because usually how we would do ours was like we would have 2 nights. It'd be Friday and Saturday.
And like even when I was in high school, there were like two sets of cast, so it's like 2 people would have the same role, and there would be like an AM show, PM show, or like let's say like a Monday, Wednesday, Friday show, and like a Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday show. So like we've got multiple productions of like the same show but with different casts, but just they practice so hard. Why is it so one and done?
The only thing I can think of is just because how Japan does their school, which is Monday through Saturday, and they only get Sunday off. So maybe that's what they just had to do. Just, but it does seem kind of like crappy. It's one and done. You get the one chance and that's it.
It's like it really puts a spin on for one night only.
Yeah, you cannot fix anything the next day. You can't learn any mistakes. So funny.
Yeah, normally it would have been a weekend at least, especially with how hard the students worked on it. It deserved multiple nights. Yeah. The winter scene from Arc 1 continues to haunt S&S through Arc 4. I just have to sigh, lol. I'm currently reading chapter 71, and Sakura mentions how she and Sharon might be close, but he's never actually said how he felt about her since that time he told her his original confession was just silly childhood memories. Sad face. I don't know about that. Doesn't it, like, towards the end of Arc 3, Sharon, like, point blank asks her out, and she's like, I think we should just finish this drama with the Dark Ones first before we actually explore anything.
So they do go to dinner, they go on a date, and then but it's kind of a weird conversation, because he does, like, but he doesn't point blank say, like, that he likes her and that everything he said in the winter was a lie. He basically, like, he wants to DTR, basically, is what it was. Okay. He was like, so what are we? You know? And like, which is a very open-ended question. It could be, we're friends, we're partners, or whatever. But I will say, Sakura does take it very seriously. She knows what he's asking. And she says, like, I think we should just focus on the Dark Ones for the moment. But I think she mostly does that because he wasn't honest with her and told her how he's feeling. Because, again, the biggest dark force is the communication.
Michelle ends with, he just needs to sit her down and say everything plain and simple, or else this poor girl won't understand.
Preach.
And then her last comment is for our latest update, which is chapter 41, Star-Crossed. And Michelle says, thanks for another fun podcast episode. I'm with Melanie. I am terrible at improv too. Being such an overthinker, I'm not too good at thinking on the fly like that. Lol.
Yeah, I think that's why I suck at it too. My Virgo in me won't let me just let go.
Whoa, I never considered Kai possibly being able to freeze time. I also wondered how he could steal all the treasures in the way he did, but like you, I've just left it as the magic of Kaiju Magician. While rereading one of the future chapters, I came across a comment Kai made that he actually sealed part of his powers so that he wouldn't use them as a crutch. I completely forgot about that.
I did too.
On that topic of Kai, I have a vague memory of discussing with Diana why he gathered the treasures during the past. Oh, to be a fly on the wall for their conversations.
I know.
We would be able to absorb so much and apply it to this podcast.
We should do one big group episode where just the four of us, like us two besties, them two besties, and we just geek out.
I think I decided that he wanted to test Sakura on whether she was capable of stealing the plague or not. Thus, he had her face the fates, a force that even RN couldn't steal. So I do like the idea of him gathering the treasures for aesthetics, though. Yeah, maybe that was just Kai's way of orchestrating Sakura to see the fates. I like that theory too.
Yeah, because I think I could see him realizing just through osmosis and watching her that, like, he knows there's no way for him to actually do it on his own. He's going to need someone that has the power to seal.
Yes.
So I actually do like that theory. That is interesting.
Mm-hmm. I want to say it was explained that Ryuren wasn't showing symptoms of the plague because of his mental and physical strength. Nadeshiko had the weaker body of the two, so she got sicker. And again, who knows if Ryuren would have lived longer than he did if he never went on that mission.
Oh, that's interesting too.
Yeah, because, like, if you think about it, Ryuren must have been training to be, like, the chosen one since he was probably Sharon's age in CCS or younger. So, if anything, he does have that strength and stamina, and yes, it's in his body, but Nadeshiko just got, like, she met Moonstone and started this journey.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's an interesting thought.
Melanie, you wanted to bring up something about the end of Starcrossed?
Oh, yes. So it occurred to me while re-listening during this, our last episode, that I never really finished my thought on, like, why I liked Wish Chan's ending so much better than the regular Romeo and Juliet. So just as a fast recap for regular Romeo and Juliet, and why I hate the friars so much, is the friar basically, he's the one that hatches this whole stupid plan of, like, hey, Juliet, you should drink this, like, belladonna that makes you be dead, but you're not actually dead, and then that's going to make Romeo come and see you, and then huzzah, everything will be great. And so then Romeo shows up, he thinks she's actually dead, and he's like, oh no, and then he stabs himself, and then wouldn't you know, Juliet wakes up and goes, oh my god, he stabbed himself, and then she stabs herself, and that's it. So aka everything is the friar's fault. So what I appreciate about Wish Chan's ending is, number one, I love the fact that she brings in Count Paris more. I think he's very much, I wouldn't even call him a secondary character in the actual Romeo and Juliet. I love the fact that it really, like, he has that whole confrontation with Romeo. I think that's so interesting. And I love the fact that the whole poison thing never happened. I love that to bits. And I love that the whole reason that Sakura dies is because she's protecting Romeo. I love that. It's like she's like taking back the power. And I love that also, like, Sharon doesn't kill himself either. He dies because of getting stabbed by Count Paris. I just think it fixes it, and it fixes everything I don't like about the original, and I freaking love it. So anyways, bravo, Wish Chan. You did such a good job.
I really feel that you guys are probably on the same wavelength, and she also had hatred towards the friar, so she had to, like, fanfic an ending. This was her chance.
I love it. I love it.
So in mid-March, Melanie and we had the pleasure of meeting together to go to New York. We were actually originally talking about going somewhere else, but with me just having a baby, it's like, yeah, I'm not going to change continents for now. Let's start small. And New York is in America, so that's where Melanie lives, and it's actually not too far away from the Canadian border, so that was easy enough too. And it's like, okay, I told her, let's go meet in New York, and she thought that was a fabulous idea. And I asked Melanie, when was the last time you went? And she's like, oh, not since, it was like, what, like decades? You were in early 20s?
Y'all, it was probably like, the last time I was there was probably 2009, 2008-ish, even. Like, so yeah, it'd been well over a decade since I'd been there. Like, I've been in that airport many times. I've been in JFK, I've been in LaGuardia, but of course I never left the airport. So it'd been a long time, y'all.
Well, you go over a decade. And for me, I was actually just in New York back in December, but like, it's different going to the city with your best friend.
It's so much fun, and I've never have actually gotten to be there as a tourist before, because every time I was there, I literally like flew in, and then I would have to go to my go-sees, or if I was booked for a specific show, I would go to that specific show. And since I was underage at the time, I had to immediately come back home, and because since I had a single mom, I didn't have a guardian that came with me. She had to sign a paper that like said, you know, my underage kid is okay to blah 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 blah. So anyway, since I was underage, I wasn't able to do anything on my own. I had to come home. So anyways, it was very fun for me to be there as a tourist.
So you flew in on a Wednesday, and Melanie coordinated her flight to get there an hour before mine so that she could just chill at the airport until I came. And we met up, and we hugged, and we were both wearing black as an homage to the Out of Time chapter.
It was the one NT photo we forgot to do, unfortunately, but because we were so ecstatic to see each other. Because when was the last time we saw each other in person? Oh, when I was there in September or October.
Yes. So Melanie came to Montreal at the end of September, beginning of October, because Pete had a concert. But before that, the first time we met, we made sure to wear black, and we do have a picture of that. So that's why it's like, okay, fine. We don't have a picture. We do have a version of that picture in Kansas, so that's okay. Okay, we took a taxi to the hotel, and it was too early to check into our room, so we just checked our luggage, and Melanie's like, oh, there's a Harry Potter store in New York. I'm like, okay, cool. Let's go check that out. And usually all the big touristy stuff are in Times Square, but this is like a good half an hour on foot. Weather was good, we were fine, and we walked for 30 minutes, and we got to the store, and it was absolutely gorgeous.
Oh my, if any of you are a Harry Potter fan, or even a passing fan, like, I would really recommend going in there. It is so cool. They have so many movie memorabilia in there. And
anything you could think of, they have books, they have toys, they have jewelry, they have sweets. It's like anything, games. It's if you think about it, they have it. And the set pieces, the props, I took pictures, I sent it to my cousin, and the first thing she asked was like, oh, how much did you pay to go in?
Right.
And I'm like, no, this is a store. They want you to buy their stuff.
Yeah, they had the actual Philosopher's Stone in there from the movie. They had the actual time turner that Emma Watson used, and then they had an actual Death Eater's helmet down the dungeon area. I was geeking out at every single turn. I think we spent probably 2 hours in there, because we were getting our money's worth. We were combing that whole place. It was so cool, though.
There was a broomstick experience that we really didn't do, but then I ended up talking to my cousins, and they did it, and they're like, it's okay, but it's not a wow thing. It was fun, but it's not oh my my God, you were there and you didn't do the broomstick thing?
Right.
So right. Yeah.
It looked like one of those where like you sit on it and then there's like a green screen behind you and it's like you're flying, which is cute, I guess. But
we opted for butterbeer.
Yes, much better.
Yes. And at the Honeydew section, I found a little vial of Felix Felicis, the good luck potion, and Melanie happily bought that for Felix's first birthday next month.
And then my daughter is named Luna, and so I always look for Luna stuff like every time I'm at like the Harry Potter world in Florida or California. So of course I was looking for Luna stuff, and every year for Christmas I always get Luna a Christmas ornament, so then that way when she becomes an adult and she has her own Christmas tree, she already has like years worth of ornaments to kind of get her started. It's a tradition that my husband's mom did for him that I just absolutely fell in love with. So that's what I do. But anyways, I found an adorable Luna ornament where it's like Luna with the lion head. And I just think it's so cute. And I actually, I have a Harry Potter tree in my house, which is, you guys already knew I liked Harry Potter, okay? And it's like a whole separate tree. But this one I think I'm going to put on our regular tree with all her other ornaments that I get her every year. So, you know, I have a little bit of Harry Potter.
I actually had to quiz Melanie on that. I'm like, Melanie, is that for your family tree or is that for your Harry Potter tree? And she had to think about it.
My bestie knows me so well.
Okay, so on Thursday we got up early because we had an agenda. The first thing we did is we had coffee at a place next to our hotel, and it was really good.
Yeah, it was Puerto Rican coffee. It was super good.
Yeah, it's like Melanie, like they were going to give Melanie a smaller cup, and she pointed at the big cup, and she's like, I want that one. And then he had to explain that this is like a specialty bean, and it's super strong, and like a small cup would be enough.
Which, was it strong? I mean, it was okay, but could I still have had a bigger cup? Like, absolutely, but that's okay. I also like run on caffeine.
The two of us, we took the subway. And
hold on. Don't pass over. Preya tried her first chicken empanada.
Oh, that's true. That's true. We bought that, and it was really good. It was very tasty. So we took the subway together. I was a bit nervous because, like, I've always had people who, like, knew what they were doing like, with me. But Melanie and I were both newbies. But, like, you know, two newbies, brave, can do it together. And we did. So we took the train to the American Museum of Natural History, and I have a cousin in New York who works at, like, my mom says, yeah, he works at one of the science museums. And then I was talking to my uncle, and he's like, yeah, he works at the American Museum of Natural History. He can get you free tickets.
Literally the biggest museum. So funny.
Yes. So I didn't see my cousin since like 2019. He's just so busy. So it was really fun seeing him. And Melanie took her picture, and I sent it to the our group cousins chat, and everybody was like all shocked and surprised. And it's like, whoa. Yes. So he got it. Not only did he get his free tickets, but he also like tacked on the an extra a walk through the butterfly insectarium, like, yeah, it was like a little butterfly thing. And and because we had like our coats, because it was still cold, and some bags, he took us down to the lockers, and he is actually the assistant to the manager of customer relations, and he was the one who programmed the lockers, so it wasn't as hard for him to like get us a locker. So he said, well, you just pick a number and you pick a letter, pick a color. So I did 603 red, which is the Kaitu magician's number, and red for Malin.
When she said that's what she wanted to pick, I think I fell in love with her all over again in that moment. I just had hearts in my eyes. I was like, I love you so much.
Yeah, we had a fun time, and this was Melanie's first time seeing dinosaur bones.
Yeah, so obviously in Kansas we don't have a whole lot of museums or really anything like that, and I love dinosaurs. Jurassic Park is one of my favorite movies of all time, and yeah, I've never seen dinosaur bones in person, and it was so cool. I'm really glad we started with that section because I would have been really sad if we would have had to rush through it, so that was super fun.
Okay, and then the reason why we went to the museum is because we wanted to go to Central Park that day because we're doing like a new child's pilgrimage, and that's where Sakura and Sharon had their photo shoot in the snow. So we walked through Central Park, and then we were just sitting down on the bench, and Melanie's like, I wonder if that's the tree that Miho was on when she threw snow on SNS. And I am here for this.
And that's when she fell in love with me all over again.
It's like, I am here with the right person. So we had a fun time walking through Central Park, and then I spotted a sakura tree, and I saw it first, and I looked over at Melanie, and I'm like, is that a sakura tree? And the way that she looked where my eye line was, and just to watch her jaw drop and her face light up, and it was such a beautiful sight.
Oh, you're so sweet. But no, we do not have cherry trees in Kansas. Like, we have like actually like really pretty magnolia trees that bloom like really pretty pink blooms. So anytime I see a pink bloom, I just automatically think it's a magnolia tree, and I just erase it from my mind. And so the fact that it was an actual sakura tree, I was so happy Priya clocked that, because I've never seen one in person.
Because we were like on the other side. We weren't even on that side. We had to like cross over, climb a little hill, get a good look, take a selfie. Yes, seeing that sakura tree, it was just like waiting for us.
So cool. Because, I've been to like Washington, D.C., but I think the time I went, it was during the summer. So all the cherry trees, were back to just normal trees. So it was super cool to see one in person.
So Melanie was telling me at Central Park there are certain statues, so we just had to find Balto, and we found the Alice in Wonderland one, which is absolutely beautiful, and another nod to CCS and NT.
Yay! I'm so glad we like made the little side quest to go find those. That was so cool.
Oh yeah, no, for sure. If like one thing to do in Central Park is to find Alice, because like Miho's tea party, and then like we have the Alice in Wonderland little episode in CCS. It's like it was a must. It had to be on our list,
and it was bigger than what I thought it would be.
Yes.
It was huge.
Because, like, you think that it's just, like, Alice on a toadstool, but no, it's the March Hare, and it has more than one characters, and I think there's, like, at least 4 characters in that statue? Between the Hatter and the Hare and even the Dormouse.
It was really, really big. Like, I'm about 6 foot tall, and so I think even if I laid like hand to foot, it'd probably be like, well, I don't know, you don't know what feet is. I was gonna say it's probably like 12 feet long, but Priya doesn't know what that is. 2 of me.
We measure our height in feet, so like I'm 5'6".
Oh, duh. Sorry, I thought you did centimeters for some reason.
It's an option, but for some reason when it comes to like our own height, I like to just fall back on feet.
Got it.
Yes. So now the reason why we're walking through... At Central Park, I bought my one and only souvenir. And that was a crochet flower rose for my mother. And she's been making ribbon roses like for decades. And then I put that rose in the suitcase that I borrowed from her, and I forgot to take it out. So when she was taking the suitcase, it's like she found it, and she's like, "What's this?" And I'm like, "Oh, that's your present." And she's like, "You make me find my own present?" But she absolutely loved it. She adored how intricate it was. She's never seen anything like it, and it really was the perfect gift, and it really made her day.
So pretty. And the self-control that Priya has to just be able to be like, I'm not going to buy anything, and be able to stick to it, like, it's complete superpower. One that I don't have.
So, funny story. Melanie, she had a birthday gift for me, and she decided to leave it in Kansas because it's like, oh, we're going to be in New York. There's going to be something she wants, and I'm going to buy it. He. And then her husband is like, are you sure? Don't you want to bring the gift just in case? And Melanie's like, nope. And then what happens?
I should know, because Priya's told me many times before that she doesn't like to shop. It's not something that she does. But I thought, sure, hopefully we'll like see a souvenir that she really wants, and then I can get it for her. But I should have known. It's the one time where my husband was right and I was wrong.
Now, the reason why we walked through Central Park from the Museum of Natural History was to get to the crown jewel of our trip, which was afternoon tea at the Plaza Hotel.
Oh my God.
So when Melanie and I first started brainstorming about this trip, Melanie said, you know what we should do? We should spend the night at the Plaza Hotel. It's expensive. I think it'll be worth it. And then I'm just Googling one night at the Plaza Hotel, seeing that's over $1,000, and then shutting her down.
Which I could have maybe swung it, but like literally not even like a month before this trip happened, my husband and I very unexpectedly had to buy a new car, and we had to put like $8,000 down. And so I didn't get to be as extravagant as what I would have liked, but that's okay. We got to go in there anyways.
Yes. So high tea was absolutely beautiful. The setting was gorgeous. They let us use the bathrooms to change into our dresses and our outfits. And I was Sakura in pink. I wore my my birthday dress to the high tea, and Melanie, she looked really, really pretty and channeling Maylin in red and black. And yes, so I love tea so much. I adore it. And they gave us these two huge pots, and I basically just downed my whole pot. And Melanie, well, let's just say that she barely skimmed the surface.
I do not like tea. I have tried and tried. The only thing that sort of comes close is I sort of like a chai latte, but again, it has coffee mixed in it. But like, I tried the first, like I straight up told our waiter dude, I was like, I really don't like tea. Is there a tea you have that's like the non-tea drinkers say tastes good? And just the look on his face was like, oh, you don't like tea?
What are you doing here?
Then he's like, oh, well, try this like breakfast Earl Grey tea. And I was like, oh, that sounds like something Eardle would drink. So yes, I'll try that. So I got that. And oh my God, I ended up like just dousing it with like milk and a crap ton of sugar, and I still just couldn't get past it. So but they were super nice, and they were like, if you don't like it, just tell us and we'll switch out the pot. Where Priya had got a chai, and it did smell good, and I was like, well, I know I sort of like chai, so I ordered chai, and it was better. But yeah, I definitely did not drink as much tea.
I really wish I was there to see the waiters clear our teapots, because like mine weighed like nothing and hers like weighed a ton.
Now, if that would have been coffee, if you would have switched it out with coffee, that would have been gone.
Oh, but it was exquisite. It is pricey, folks. So it's like, we'll tell you that. But we were actually full, and they had little sandwiches, and they had scones, and the desserts were absolutely exquisite. Like the ingredients that they used, it was a masterpiece, and it was just really fun to be at the plaza, since our CCS gang stayed at the plaza. And that was a great way to honor it.
And it was super cool. Like me as a movie buff, like I think we've talked about Home Alone before, and they have like a couple of like Home Alone stuff in there. That's like his hat he wore in the movie, and then there's like, and then also if any of your daughters or kids like Eloise, they have a bunch of like Eloise stuff. There's also even an Eloise tea menu for a kiddo, and actually one of my good friends, her daughter's name is Eloise, so I was taking like a bunch of pictures for my friend Elena, and I got her a little Eloise souvenir, which I actually just gave her this past weekend, and just to see the joy on her face was so cute.
Oh, and like everybody was drinking out of like green tea, like teacups, and then Melanie, she clocked the pink one, and then she's like, you're wearing pink, you should ask for a pink one. And I'm like, no. And then it's like we see somebody else drinking from a pink cup, and I'm like, okay, fine. I'm like, can I have a pink cup? And then the waiter had no problem, and then he came back with like a pink napkin, and it's like, oh, it matches your dress. It was really cute.
Because I was like, green and pink, Sakura and Sharon, we gotta have the vibe.
Yes. But it was very filling that we didn't even need to eat dinner for dinner that night, and we were quite content.
Yeah, I mean, it's a pricey experience, but with the amount of, like, even though it's small things, but the amount of food you get, the tea, like everything, like it was very filling, and I appreciated that it wasn't like where we were stuffed, you know, and had to like walk all the way back to the subway going, ugh, you know. I felt full, but not like terrible, you know.
Yeah, no, it was a very good experience. I'm so happy to have shared it with Melanie. It was really, really special.
I loved it so much.
And not Melanie putting me on blast. So like the waiter, the hostess, she's like, "Are we celebrating anything special?" And then Melanie's like, "It's her birthday. Can you believe she's 40?"
Because you look damn good, girl. If I was okay, I'm going to defend myself here. I am your number one hype woman. Like, I want people to be like, "Damn, you're 40, girl. No way." Like, hey, like, I will hype you up until the day I die. Like, you look so good to be 40. Don't sell yourself short.
Thank
you.
You
look amazing.
Okay, the next day was Friday, and we were supposed to like spend some time walking outside, going to Chinatown, maybe even the Rockefeller Center. It was just so cold. So we were having breakfast at the Carnegie Diner, and then that's when I proposed, well, why don't we do our inside activities today, since, you know, it's not really worth being outside. So
Yeah.
Prior to our trip, and this actually predates back to Kansas, when Melanie was driving me to the Wizard of Oz Museum, and she was ranting about how this girl who thinks she's good enough to play Snow White, Rachel, what's her name, said that, like, this isn't your grandma Snow White, and it's like, I can't believe her, and for that, I'm not going to watch the movie, and I'm like, Hold
on, guys. So for some backstory, just in case y'all don't know, Snow White is my number one favorite Disney princess of all time. I am obsessed with Snow White. I have like everything and anything having to do with Snow White. Like, it is number one, dear to my heart. So I had such high hopes for this movie, and just to see the way Rachel Zegler talked about it, I was upset. And I was refusing to go see the movie, but...
So then I was like looking at things to do in New York, and it just so happened that Snow White opened that weekend. So I'm like, Melanie, we should see it. And she's like, ugh. Like, literally, she typed back, ugh. And then I said, oh, come on. How, it's like, when am I going to get the opportunity to see a Disney movie with my favorite Disney adults? I'll be seeing Snow White with my very own Snow White. And she's like, and then she's like, okay, but you have to dress up as Dark Snow White. And I'm like, done and done. And she's like, and then I got to do your makeup. And I'm like, okay. And I told her in the message that I could hear her screaming.
I've been begging to do Preya's makeup since like she came to like Kansas, if not before. Like, I always have wanted to do her makeup. I didn't get to do as much as what I would have wanted because I only had limited supplies, but yeah.
But it was definitely a new milestone in our friendship. So I went on Amazon and I found this really cool red and black dress. So and then Melanie, she dressed up as Snow White and had a really cute blue dress with her Snow White jewelry and a nice white ribbon. And then we went to go see the movie, and it was bad. It was bad, but there were some parts that were not as bad, and those I will count as a win.
I told her that my other negotiation for going to see this movie is I have full reign to roll my eyes, I have full reign to laugh, and you're going to have to listen to me rant and rave when we get done with this movie with a smile on your face.
Which I happily did. Because I don't know, I just thought it was criminal that Snow White's number one fan isn't seeing the Snow White movie. Now you can say you've seen it, and now you can trash it having seen it and not hearsay.
I will say, like, anytime any of my friends now have seen me in person, it's like the number one thing they ask me, because they all knew, because I've been telling them for like this whole past year, like, I refuse to see this movie. I am not seeing this movie. And now they're like, oh, so you saw it? Like, what do you think? And so my friend Christina and I are getting dinner in a couple weekends. And I told her, I was like, be prepared for half our dinner to be a 20-minute rant about this movie.
Well, to bring it back to New Trials, our cast did do a fairy tale performance in Arc 4, and Malin was Snow White. So that was just another nod of our New Trials journey.
And I wanted Preya to dress up as like a goth version of Snow White, like the goth Cinderella. So that's why I asked her to do that.
Yes. Now I have a really cute outfit, and we're looking to go to a Renaissance fair so I can wear it.
Cute.
Yes. So that night we went to go see a Broadway show called Anne Juliet. And it was like, this was the best way to celebrate having just recorded Star-Crossed. So we had so much fun seeing it. Basically, the premise is, what if Juliet didn't die and she gets to live her life? And the soundtrack was all of Max Martin's music from the 2000s. So think Backstreet Boys, NSYNC, Katy Perry, Kelly Clarkson, all
Britney
those
Spears.
hits. Britney Spears. It's like such good music. And any TikTok fans out there, Charlie D'Amelio, she was one of the dancers, so it was really cool seeing her presence on stage. And every time there was like a little like Rosalind, she had a little role, and then Melanie and we looked at each other and we giggled. But it was very, very good. We had a great time.
It was such a good idea, because this show wasn't even on my radar, because originally we were maybe going to want to go see Wicked, because both Priya and I really love Wicked, but it was a little out of the price range for what we were wanting. And so when Priya mentioned this, it was just so serendipitous, because we had literally the week before had just finished our Star-Crossed podcast episode, so it was just meant to be, and it was the best evening. I had such a good time.
Saturday, the weather was better, and then so the same way that Sakura and the gang found Ariel in New York, Melanie, she found Karen, who it was one of her co-workers in Manhattan, and we had a really nice lunch at a restaurant called The Barking Dog, which really welcomes like dogs to come, and she brought her little pup, and it was very cute. And she just couldn't get enough of all of our New Trial stories and connections to New York. And then when I told her that she was part of it, she was like over the moon.
It's so cute. So Karen trained with me for this new job that I had. Like, we trained together, and basically I'm the Kansas City territory manager and she's Manhattan. And so we only get to see each other, like during our when our company gets together, like 3 times a year or whatever. So I was really happy to see her, because she's just the most nicest, wonderful human being. And she always talks to me about her dog named Tank, which, okay, I want you guys to picture in your head what kind of dog you think would be a dog named Tank. Okay, do you have it? Okay, now guess what? Tank is a 3-pound Yorkie. It's the best. But I loved it. It was so good to see her, and we were really good. We only talked about work for like a split moment, and then
which I was totally fine with.
But anyways, I was really glad to get to see her.
Yeah. Then we took the subway again to Chinatown, and Melanie, she had been like looking for a New York City sweater, and all of the ones selling in Times Square were like, $40. And then she got to Chinatown and she found something quite similar for $20. So guys, just do your shopping in Chinatown.
Mm-hmm. And you can haggle them down too. Like, you can probably get them to go cheaper than that, but yeah, highly recommend.
Yeah, so then, so yes, spoiler alert, Melanie couldn't find anything to buy for me. But I did bring this out so I can remember to talk about it. So we did, we went to like one of those like Korean stores and they had a photo booth. And I'm like, Melanie, do the photo booth with me. So we took some really cute pictures, which I'll post on the Facebook group. But yes, that is my favorite souvenir.
Aw, that was so cute. Like, I never would have thought to do a photo booth. And then Priya's like, no, they do it in NT too, Soccer and Shout. I'm like, I completely forgot about that. So that was another little NT parallel we got to do, which is so cute.
Yes. So overall, it was a beautiful trip. We got to really explore Times Square, which they also spent time at. We got to do some outfits. I told Melanie that, like, oh, well, on New Year's Eve, they wore black dresses, and I packed my black dress for the Broadway, and she didn't pack her black dress. But it was okay, because it was a really cold day, and I was really grateful for my pants.
Yeah, it was so cold. We were also going to maybe try to go to Empire State Building, too. But then that was the day we were thinking about it, was the day it was so cold. And I'm so glad we didn't. I'm so glad we didn't go. And then it just didn't work out timing wise the next day either. But yeah, I can't even explain to you guys how cold that day was. It was one of those days where like you just walk outside and your face just gets assaulted by like cold. It was awful.
I had to struggle to get this girl to buy a hat. She's like, no, I can't buy that hat. It's not cute. I'm like, just forget about fashion, think about sensibility. And then walked a bit further. Oh, this is a cute hat. And then she's putting her hand in her pockets. Melanie, you need gloves. And she's like, never. Never. And I'm like, oh my gosh.
I mean, I looked at the weather before we went and I saw that it was supposed to be for you Americans, it was supposed to be 50 degrees, 40, maybe a little bit closer to 30 on some days, which I brought jackets, but just the thought, I was like, I already had to buy a stupid hat and then I didn't want to have to buy stupid gloves on top of it. So I was like, my hands will freeze and I will get over it. But the hat was really nice once I did find one because we stopped at this one, not to put them on blast or anything, but we did stop by this one store in Central Park, which is their little souvenir shop. And the hat they had was so ugly. And I was like, I'm not doing it. It doesn't go with my outfit.
And then we had to go back because I needed a map. So I'm like, okay, Melanie, since you insulted them, you wait out here. I'll go back in.
And I said it right in front of the store owner too, and I didn't mean to say it out loud. Sometimes crap just leaves my mouth without me thinking about it.
And meanwhile, I brought 2 hats to New York, my thin toque and my thick toque. So,
and Preya had a scarf, and she had gloves. She's coming from Canadian winter, whereas Kansas is very much I left 70-degree weather to go to New York to freeze my butt off. So I was very much in spring mode, okay?
Well, technically spring did start that weekend, I think, but weather just had other ideas. No, but overall, it was a super fun vacation, much needed. The first time I went on a big trip since I had the baby, and I didn't even feel FOMO at first. I'm like, I like this, I'm fine. And then the kid decides to walk while I was on the cold day. So right before going to see Anne Juliet, Cameron sends me a video of Felix walking. Mind you, we did catch his first steps. His first steps he did right before my trip, but actual walking, oh my gosh, I had a case of FOMO. But I was home within a few days, and no, it's a good trip. I start work next month, so this was much needed, and I couldn't think of anybody better to go with.
Aw, I love you, bestie.
I love you, bestie.
Well, and then it's kind of funny because my flight was supposed to leave so much earlier than Priya's. And so guys, get this. So Priya had asked me, she's like, hey, Priya's like, I have family in, where is it, Brooklyn?
Yes, Queens,
sorry.
Yes.
She's like, I have family in Queens that I'm going to go see, and then you can come with me and they'll drive us to the airport. And I was like, no, since my flight's kind of earlier, I said, I think I'll just sleep in and then I'll just go to the airport on my own later. So we had said our goodbyes that morning. We had hugged. We sent her on her merry way. I get to the airport and I'm getting notification after notification that something is going on with my flight. I make it all the way through security, and my flight ended up being so delayed. Even when Preya showed up at the airport hours later, like we got to sit by each other and talk to each other again. And then like it looked like we were finally going to start to board, so we said our goodbyes and hugged once more. I got in line, and then they said, "Oh, just kidding, something's wrong with because basically what happened was my plane coming in from St. Louis was late coming into New York because of bad weather." And then once the plane got to New York, something was wrong with the plane. So then they had to figure it out. So they had us all sit back down. And then I hear over the intercom, like, and I knew because Priya's flight was like right behind me, like where they were all sitting. And then I heard over the intercom that her flight was also delayed. So I was texting her and I was like, "Oh, that sounds bad." And she's like, "Wait, are you not on your flight? Where are you?" And I'm like, "Nope, I'm sitting back over here." So guess what? We had another reunion.
It was like the longest goodbye, and it just became so like anticlimactic. It's like, "I'm not going to see you until next year when you come to my wedding, and this is going to be the last time that we're together for a long time because I won't be traveling." And then it was like, "Okay, bye. Okay, bye. Okay, bye."
So funny. So she ended up boarding her flight like even before mine, and then it ended up like they ended up having to switch our flights like completely over to like a different gate, different plane, different everything. So I was supposed to get home at like 4 p.m. I didn't land and get home till 10 o'clock at night, guys. It was awful. It was so bad.
But luckily, Melanie had the foresight to take the day off work on Monday, so that was like really kept her going.
Yeah, thank God. I needed it because normally sometimes after a travel day, I can sort of bounce back, but after that, I was like, "Oh my God, I'm so glad I took today off."
Yes, so this is just the first of many. Well, sort of first. Like when she came to, like when I went to go see her in Kansas, she took me to the museum, and that was a bit of a drive. And then when she came to Montreal, I took her to Quebec City, where we spent the night. That was like our first little trip. But this is our first big trip where we both had to travel and see each other. And yes, let's keep this tradition going.
Hey, we're coming for you next. We'll see you, Catherine. I'm holding you up to the fact you want to see us.
Oh, well, with that, you've been listening to New Trials, the podcast where it must rain for there to be a rainbow.
It's late.
It's very late, guys. It's 11 on my side.
You've been listening to New Trials, the podcast. Please be sure to check out the audiobook version of this fan fiction that you can find anywhere that you can find this podcast. Please be sure to check out the Facebook fan page for New Trials, where a big part of the discussions happen nowadays. And stick around next time when we discuss Chapter 42, A Little Girl's Dream.